Hello everyone. In this part of the MOOC's content, we'll be discussing the module on punishments under the Indian Penal Code. As we begin, I hope you have gone through the other modules and you'll find this one interesting as well. And I hope you'll learn more with each passing module. So before we begin, punishments under IPC, I'll try to give you an introduction of the varieties of punishments available under the Indian Penal Code. In the Indian Penal Code, we have different types of punishments based on the proportionality principle of the criminal jurisprudence, which means that every punishment should be proportionate in intensity to the crime committed. So based on the proportionality of the offense, of the gravity of the offense, the nature of the crime, different types of punishments have been prescribed. The highest form of punishment prescribed in the Indian Penal Code is death penalty or capital punishment. Then you have life imprisonment also prescribed as a form of punishment in the Indian Penal Code. Then there is imprisonment, which can be of either description. Very often we come across the term imprisonment of either description in the Indian Penal Code, by which is meant that imprisonment could be either simple or rigorous in nature. Then the other form of punishment which is available in the IPC is forfeiture, followed by the final form of punishment, that is fine. In addition to these varieties of punishment which have been prescribed in the IPC, there is also the concept of solitary confinement. Solitary confinement has been mentioned in section 73 and 74 of the Indian Penal Code. So the total number of punishments including solitary confinement comes down to 6 if we look at the number of punishments which have been prescribed under the Indian Penal Code. The primary division of punishment in the IPC has been mentioned in section 53. Now, before we get into the details of the punishment mechanisms, what each type of punishment stands for, it is important to mention how punishments have been linked with various offenses in the IPC. So, for instance, sometimes the IPC prescribes punishment of the highest order, for example, death penalty or life imprisonment for very serious offenses like murder. Similarly, imprisonment of either description, rigorous imprisonment or simple imprisonment, has been prescribed for varieties of offenses. So, for example, if there is an aggravated form of kidnapping or kidnapping per se, rigorous imprisonment has been prescribed as a punishment. The number of years in rigorous and simple imprisonment may vary from one offense to another. Section 53 makes a mention of the order in which punishments have been categorized in the IPC. So it says, the punishments to which offenders are liable under the provisions of the code are first, death, secondly, imprisonment for life, then imprisonment which is of two direct descriptions, namely rigorous, that is with hard labor, and simple. Then it has a prescription of forfeiture of property, finally a prescription of fine. Act 26 of 1955 substituted transportation for imprisonment for life. So initially the code prescribed transportation for life as a punishment pattern, which was however repealed, and the new provision that we have right now is imprisonment for life. So right now deportation or transportation is not a punishment modality anymore in the Indian Penal Code. This provision came into effect on the 1st of January 1956. The third clause, which mentioned penal servitude, was removed by an amendment in the year 1949, and it came into effect on the 6th of April 1949.